Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we start, if you're a subscriber, please check that you are still subscribed, because YT have unsubbed a few people. I've had a few emails from guys, so please check and make sure, and then resubscribe if you have been undone. Okay, right. Now this video is about, can you afford a Thai company? Really, this at the moment, as things have changed, things have gone up. So I deliberately included the words "these days" because costs have definitely increased in the last 4 years or so, since the pre-pando days, we'll call it. So we're going to have a chat in this video about costs, while we have a walk around the new vegetarian market, which is on for a week or so, and then just across the road is the seafood market, which is always here. So we're up at Nuclear in North Pattaya. So let's start with the chat. The question, by the way, there is also a very good story with a real twist at the end. So that's at the end of the video. So going back to what we're saying, the question is whether you're better off financially having a regular girlfriend or playing the field whenever you feel like it. In my opinion, you should not consider having a regular girlfriend here unless you live here full time. Otherwise, you'll just become a sponsor. Now, when I talk about a regular girlfriend, there are two major ways that you can do this. Either she has a regular proper job, like she works in a bank or a hotel reception or a shop or something, or she stops whatever work she was doing, which may well have been a bar of some sort, and comes to live with you full time as your, as the Thai call it, Mia Chow, or rented wife. And you give her an allowance, which she has to have, as if she's from a poor family, then she would be obliged to help to support her parents or a child up in Isan. Now, this allowance should be negotiated and depends on several factors, such as how pretty she is, how old she is, what you look like, and how old you are, and most important, how wealthy you are. And that factor alone is one reason why you never tell a girl how much money you have. Just to continue with this scenario, prices have definitely gone up. An allowance now for a companion in her 40s of average looks is around 20,000 baht a month, which is $550. By comparison, I know a girl, late 20s, who's a real looker, who recently gave up her lucrative job as a high earner in a top club for an allowance of 60,000 baht a month, which is $1,650, which is about half of what she was earning in the club. Moving on to the second scenario of having a regular girlfriend who has a proper job, such as she works in an office 9 to 5 and has a regular wage, which is probably going to be about 20,000 Thai baht a month, or $550. Now, if the girl is living in your condo and you're paying for all the utilities and the food and everything, then her 20,000 baht wage is all for her to keep, and she may be satisfied with that, depending on how strong her feelings are for you. Yes, really. I know a relationship like that. Now, this is a real girlfriend, as in the West, not a mere chow. But you really are only going to find that if you yourself look good and are well dressed and treat the girl well and are reasonably generous occasionally, so she feels appreciated. Now, on a more selfish side, if she's at work Monday to Friday 9 to 5, that gives you plenty of time to enjoy the things that guys like to do with their mates, like going golfing or going fishing. Also, you then begin to understand why gentlemen's clubs traditionally open around 1 p.m. lunchtime. Now, another scenario in which the guy helps the girl set up her own business, such as a friend of mine has done, who bought a hairdressing business in a single unit shop for his girlfriend. And she now makes more money with her shop than even a top earner in a dancing bar can make. And he splits his time on the internet trading shares while she's working or going to gents clubs. So some of these relationships can be very successful. However, there's a big but. And that is, as I mentioned earlier, you must live here full time to have a proper girlfriend. Absolutely, that's a total must. Otherwise, you're just a sponsor. Now, these relationships, they hardly ever work on a long distance system. You're just a sponsor sending money. Don't go down that road, okay? Now, as you may well know, the great majority of people working in Pattaya are from dirt poor rural Isan families. That's why the daughters are obligated to send money home to help support them. However, not everyone who works in Pattaya falls into that category. There are middle class Thais who have a better education and are qualified to be able to get better jobs, like, as I said before, bank clerks or hospital staff or hotel reception staff or government staff or office workers, etc. Now, these really are the type of people that you should choose if you're looking for a proper girlfriend. Their families do not need your money. In fact, would be insulted if you offered it. And you will not be constantly badgered for extra cash for this and that and the other by middle class Thais. But they're very hard to find. Maybe Tinder or Thai Cupid if you're lucky. So we've just literally gone across the road from the veggie market, and this is the seafood market. Now, when we come in here, you will notice as we get inside that the lights flicker or appear to flicker. They don't in real life. It's just a clash between the frame rate of the camera and the frequency of the lights. You can see the flicker in there. Just ignore it. Okay, it's not real. Okay. Now moving on to the elephant in the room, having a bar worker or ex-bar worker as your girlfriend. Is that a possibility, and what would it cost? Now, the cost really depends on the current earning potential of the prospective partner. To give you some examples, I know one person who works in a big dancing bar on Walking Street, the one where all the Koreans go, who showed me her monthly pay slip, and it showed her earnings for salary and drinks commission only, and it was 150,000 baht for the month. That's $4,000, and you need to add to that 10 bar fines in the month, which is another 50,000 baht or 1,400 US. So that's 200,000 Thai baht or 5,400 US for the month. And of course that's tax free. And of course there'll be sponsor money on top of that, because you probably will have 2 or 3 or 4. Now, when I asked her, as she's so attractive, why she doesn't have a regular boyfriend instead of working in a dancing bar, her answer was, I have many offers constantly, but when I tell them how much they would have to compensate me with to replace my earnings, the offer is revoked. Now, that's obviously a top earner, but there are a lot of dancers who have very similar earnings especially in the better dancing bars, which are frequented by this recent influx of Korean guys. Now, another example is bar staff in the late 30s in some of the small beer bars up the side streets off Cybercow, who are struggling to eat and pay their rent, who would grab the hand off any guy who would offer them an allowance of only 20,000 baht or $550 a month to be their girlfriend. So I suppose the old adage of you get what you pay for is still valid. Now, obviously I've given you two examples at the opposite ends of the scale, but there are thousands of possibilities within those two extremes. Something to suit every pocket, you could say. Now I think that covers most of the costs for most scenarios of the different types of girlfriend relationship on offer in Pattaya. Now the question was, can you afford a girlfriend these days? It really depends on how much you're willing to compromise on quality. So as I promised in the title, I have another story from my hairdresser friend. This one is about one of her own staff. Now, this is about a lady by the name of Ying, who for a long time has been a customer of my hairdressers. But she worked in a dancing bar on Soy LK Metro. She's about 30 and quite attractive, and she kept saying to my hairdresser that she was fed up with the dancing all the time. It made her legs ache, and she would like to find a sponsor boyfriend. Anyway, one day she came into the hairdresser shop and announced that she'd found one, a guy from Norway, who wants to give her 40,000 baht a month, that's $1,100 to stop working in the bar. But he said it would be okay to get a proper job while he was back in Norway working on the oil rigs for a couple of months until he came back again about every 3 months for a few weeks. Now Ying had already told my hairdresser that before she worked in a dancing bar, she was in fact a fully qualified hairdresser herself and had worked as a hairdresser for 2 years in Pattaya previously. So when she told my hairdresser the full extent of her knowledge, which was quite extensive, she then asked my hairdresser if she could, if there was a job going, any chance of a job. Now, by chance, my hairdresser's is a busy shop, and she said, okay, come next week, try part-time, see how good you are. Next week came, and so did Ying, and she turned out to be very good at her job, and even could do hair dyeing and all that stuff. So my hairdresser changed her after a while to full-time. All was good for a few weeks, but gradually Ying started to moan that life was getting boring. Working all day, going back to her room, talking on WhatsApp to her boyfriend for half an hour, then going to bed. She said she missed the excitement of meeting different guys like she had in the bars. So after chatting with some of the other hairdressing staff, Ying decided to put herself on Thai Friendly. Now this worked very well for her. Occasionally she would ask my hairdresser for an hour or an hour and a half off work to go see a Thai Friendly customer. If they weren't busy, she would say, okay, fine. So this went on for some time very successfully, until it was time for her boyfriend to come back to Thailand. Everything was arranged that she would have a month off work and her boyfriend would take her to Koh Samui for a month. So she arranged to meet her boyfriend when he came at a well-known bar on Soi Buakhao. She arrived and found him sitting at the table waiting for her. And she sat down and they both got a drink and started chatting. Then, to Ying's horror, she saw the Thai-friendly customer she had been with just yesterday walk in the door. He saw her and walked directly to their table. Then he sat down next to her boyfriend. The boyfriend then put his arm round the guy's shoulder and said to Ying, "This is Eric, one of my best mates I've known for many years. I believe you know him already. This is Thailand." Surprise! Did you enjoy that? Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please have a look at Patreon, at the very popular Uncut Soy 6 videos. And please subscribe and like and share and ring the bell. And I shall see you on the next video.